Art Loft is brought to you by
Where there is freedom, there is expression. The Florida Keys and Key West.
the Miami-Dade County Tourist Development Council, the Miami-Dade County Department of Cultural Affairs, and the Cultural Affairs Council, the Miami-Dade County Mayor, and the Board of County Commissioners, and the Friends of South Florida PBS.
Art Loft. It's the pulse of what's happening in our own backyard, as well as a taste of the arts across the United States. In this episode, Environments, an arts maven creating space for other voices, a visual artist displaced but keeping home alive, and a photographer celebrating the art of decay. From supporting performers to teaching and writing plays, Darius V. Daughtry is an arts force in Broward County and beyond. We get a look at his latest play, and we hear what's to come for the Art Prevails project.
Historically, like in hip hop or such, a mixtape has, just a varied energy happening on the same mixtape. They don't really make tapes anymore. But so in a theatrical mixtape, it is that there is a mixture of vignettes, short plays, monologues, some poems, music, some dance, all kind of woven together along a particular storyline or a theme or consistent energy that drives throughout the entire show.
B to the L to the A to the C to the K, black, 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 hey.
My name is Darius V. Daughtry. I am a poet, playwright, director, educator, founder and director of a nonprofit organization, the world's greatest uncle, and some more stuff.
Man, we gotta go back to the past, man. Jeez, besides, I don't think that's how karma works.
And I'm proud of the work we're doing as a performing art organization. For the past couple of years, we've done some great work down at the Broward Center for the Performing Arts, and we're continuing to do that. We have a show coming up called The Happening, a Theatrical Mixtape, Volume 4. It focuses on journeys and experiences and perspectives of life and trials and tribulations and joy, but from the islands and from the perspective of Black men and boys.
It's pregnant. I'm about to be a whole daddy out here, man. Lying, yeah.
Broward Center has been great. Since we've kind of fostered a relationship, they've been great partners, giving us the space to really be who we are and not have to conform to anything, to be in such a world-class venue, but still stay true to who we are, to who I am as an artist.
Be present in your own way.
What I gave to my cast was a skeleton of the show that I had written. And our beginning rehearsals were just real kind of ideation processes. And so we actually just had conversations. I recorded conversations and talked. I had them do some free writing, just kind of opening up and writing different things. And so from that, that's what the final product has come from, a combination of what I'd already had, and then what we did in this process to kind of bring it out of them, and now their voice is deeply embedded in this show. And for me as an artist, one of the most exciting things is the rehearsal process, is the ideation. It is what's discovered in that time before we ever hit the stage.
Like you can go ahead, go engage, right? Let's go ahead. It's a boy. Yep. So, but go from that where we just stopped.
Darius gave us this assignment to write a letter to our younger selves. And I kind of got carried away. I have way too many drafts of that letter. It's been very immersive. It's been an experience, like exploring what it is to be Black and to be a Black man specifically, and how much of that is repressed and stuff that I don't think about.
My favorite thing about acting actually is not the applause, it's
that moment, or you feel it. You can palpably feel the energy in the room when you connect with the audience, and it's like, I got you, and I know I have you, and I know that you're fully invested, and I've pulled you in, and now we're gonna go on this ride together.
Some good, but some pretty horrible things gonna happen right here.
I want to be able to take it to some schools and take it to some, organizations that deal with, and work with young men specifically. And so that's my goal, because, one of my goals as an artist and with founding Art Prevails Project is to kind of create this equity as far as access to arts is concerned. And so sometimes that means taking the art to the people as opposed to trying to get the people to come see it. And so hopefully, after we run it at the Broward Center, we'll be able to do that like a lot in 2023. So in April, we're launching Our Voices Festival of Words. And what will be happening there is we'll have authors and speakers and poets and performers. We're bringing down the Poet Laureate from the state of Alabama, Miss Ashley M. Jones. We're bringing down national touring storyteller David Fakunle, who's a professor at the University of Florida. And then we'll have a lot of local authors and speakers and professors. The whole goal is to create this energy and love and passion around words. So it is both a literary festival and a literacy festival, right? So we want to connect with those who may or may not read often, or who may have trouble, who may need some resources, to be able to provide resources for those, whether it's children, adults, seniors, whomever, to get what they need. But also we want to elevate and shine light on just the power of the written and spoken words. So I want this to feel like everybody feels like this is for them, whether you're a scholar or a janitor somewhere, or a kid who is struggling to read in the third grade. I want you to feel like, oh, I can come here and they have something that's here for me, and it's gonna be a great time. There'll be fun, food, storytelling, after party, it's gonna be a great time. But really, it's really about building that love for the word, for words and the written and the language, and in our community.
Our longtime content partner, Oolite Arts, is celebrating a big win, a Suncoast Regional Emmy Award for its art film 1402, Pork and Bean Blue. The emotional film by Oolite fellow Juan Luis Matos follows Miami-based photographer and visual artist Roscoe B. Thick on his journey to hold on to a sense of home and a sense of place.
I remember Easters at my grandmother's house. The whole family would go to church that morning dressed to the nines, beautiful. I mean, my sisters would have on their Easter dresses, ruffled socks, black patent leather shoes. Me and my brother and my cousin would have on our little suits, vests, cover buns sometime. At the church, we would go back to my grandmother's house. And she had all type of food. I'm talking macaroni and cheese, collard greens, cornbread, all of the things. We would change into our play clothes, and we would go in the backyard, and the adults had all set up Easter eggs all through the yard. It was a humongous yard. So just this vivid memory of me running through that clothesline, trying to find these eggs all over the backyard. Me fighting with my cousins, I'm trying to get past them, trying to find an egg. My mom and my aunts just watching us, just laughing and enjoying a good time. And just that feeling that you feel, like even when I think about it now, like it feels so good. And I know they enjoyed it, because I enjoy doing that type of stuff with my kids. My name is Roscoe B. Thick. I'm a photographer, visual artist, father, husband, son, grandson, veteran, brother, other. I'm all things. I've always photographed that house because the people there, the house itself, the neighborhood has so much history, so much richness, so much beautifulness, literally generations. of generations of the family have come through that house. Almost everybody in the family has lived at that house at some point in their life. I think when I first picked up a camera, it was to capture beauty. I was in South Korea. They had mountains, they had snow, they had people that looked nothing like me, houses that looked nothing like me, rice fields, just all these things that was new to me. I think I use photography as a tool to honor legacy. I feel like it's my obligation. Like, everybody I know from Miami didn't get a chance to leave Miami. So me coming back with this perspective, with this information, with this new way of seeing, I want to kind of give it back to them. I want to show them they are amazing, that their experiences are worth something, that what they're going through, their everyday lives are part of this history and should be documented forever and ever. When I first came back to Miami, I was doing a character study on my cousin. His whole situation, he was going in, he had just got out of jail, he was on house arrest, and me just feeling the power in this situation. While I'm shooting him, I'm having a conversation with my grandma. She's going back and forth to the hospital, getting sicker and sicker. At one point, she can't even move off the couch. While I'm doing all this work with my family, I see the projects in front of our house get torn down, and I realize our house is next. My grandmother, Irene Elizabeth Love, she was a cornerstone, not just my family, the whole neighborhood. She lived in that house for a very long time. The thing about my grandmother, she was the glue that kept the family together. When you have something generational, people come, people go, but you always want somewhere to come as home. And that was always home. Even if you didn't live there, grandma's house was home. I remember rumors years before that they were gonna tear down the Poker Bean projects and never seen the action. So I didn't think it was real. But then I remember seeing part of the projects getting demolished. And I didn't really think it could happen to my grandmother's house. I didn't really think it was actually possible that my grandmother's house wasn't there until she passed away. I felt a sense of anxiety throughout the family. Like, when I actually saw Monte Clarita, Uncle Timmy, Dre, had to move from that 5-bedroom house to a 2-bedroom apartment, I was like, wow, this is really happening. And me just wondering, thinking how would our family move forward? We can't celebrate Thanksgiving in this 2-bedroom house. We can't come over here for New Year's Day and have shrimp and grits like we usually do. We can't come over here and just chill out to something happen, because this is an apartment, it's a 2-bedroom apartment. The whole dynamic of the whole family is gonna change now.
Grief, deep sorrow, especially that caused by someone's death. Grief, the one thing holding you back from moving on. Grief, missing someone who doesn't miss you back. Grief, a piece of your soul flooding away without you noticing. Grief, something that hits you out of thin air like a bullet to the head. Unexpected and unfortunate is how you describe it. I can't help but miss the times and memories we had in this place we once called home. It's empty now, gone, and the memories with it slowly fading away without our consent. Lord, I don't want to forget. Please, don't let me forget. Oh, grief, if only we know when you'd hit.
When I'm not taking photos, I'm raising my 3 amazing kids. I'm coaching football, basketball, track, or wrestling. I'm at the beach, yoga with my daughter. I'm riding bikes with my daughter. I'm playing basketball with my boys. I'm fathering. I'm doing something community-oriented. I think being all these things allows me to portray intimacy within my work. Helps me to associate with people, because I've been in a lot of places and spaces. I've lived a lot of lives. I've done it all. But I think, especially with the working with kids, it gives me some type of empathy, gives me some type of open-mindedness to be in any and every situation, and somehow able to find common ground where people are able to trust me, believe in me, and just know who I am.
While cities have seen their landscapes changed by gentrification, the malls of yesteryear are fading in Middle America. WVIZ Idea Stream brings us this profile of Akron, Ohio photographer Jessica Anschutz.
This photo is of me, and I was 18 months old, and my mom had me at Chapel Hill Mall, and she was approached by a photographer from the Akron Beacon-Journal who asked if her child would pose with some tiger cubs, and my mom said yes. So this picture ran in the Akron Beacon-Journal in 1978. My name is Jessica Anschutz. I am a documentary photographer and a storyteller. I basically grew up there. I've always joked that it was my childhood home because I lived 3 miles from it. I went on my first date at that mall, at the movie theater. I had my very first job at the mall. So it was always a presence in my life. I started photographing malls in 2016. I've wanted to pick my camera back up. So I did, with the intention of starting a daily creative practice. I've always been interested in architecture and buildings, and I drove by Rolling Acres on my way to my mom's house. And I was like, oh, okay, I think I'm gonna go take pictures of the old Kaufmans because it was falling apart. I really didn't get nostalgic for them until I started doing this, until I started photographing them. From there, I started doing more research, and I ended up at Canton Center Mall. And so you're in this space that is familiar. You can look at the storefronts and know from the colors and patterns what store used to be there. There might be a label scar, but all of the plants were dead. The fountain was empty. It smelled old and moldy and musty, but it's still, it was a mall. And that was the one that I was like, yes, this is what I need to be doing. There's clearly something happening, and I want to capture this. With malls now, they've taken all the seating out, you don't see fountains, even plants are hard to come by, and it's just this big white box that you go in, you shop, and you leave. When I visit malls, I am very immersed in the actual experience of it. I shop while I'm there if I can. We'll get a snack, we'll go sit by the fountain if they have one, we engage in the space. And I think that lends itself to photos that are a little more atmospheric, and I feel like my photos are a little more intimate. I wasn't anticipating this, but I love it, and I've just dug into it, and it's endlessly fascinating because people dig into it from so many different aspects, I'm looking at it from more of wanting to document these places while they're still around, and engaging with people and just enjoying the nostalgia. But I'm also not a person who is and I think malls should still exist. In a lot of ways, the time of the mall is past. I do think it's important for photos and the folklore of a mall to still exist.
From buildings in decay to the impacts we have on the earth every day, Fountainhead Arts brings us this visit with artists focusing their practice on the environment.
I make paintings from satellite perspectives, not to tell people how to feel about the climate crisis, but rather to invite them for reflection. I paint fast to reflect the urgency, but also to echo how rapidly these landscapes are changing. In my paintings, I break their rectangular format as a symbolic approach to rethinking systems, because the current systems of production are destroying the planet. I feel optimistic about the future of the planet. I see a lot of innovation, and I think that people will find a solution. They always do.
Coming from an immigrant history, it's really important to me to translate these experiences of trauma, of displacement, into healing and pleasure. So the forms that I use come from, my background as a Chinese Taiwanese American, and my processes in my studio also come from this context of using traditions from East Asia, but also using materials and foodways from my everyday environment, such as indigo, turmeric, and avocado dye. Climate change is specifically impactful to people of color, and it's important to me that these traditions are represented when we talk about sustainability.
I think consciousness requires us to bear witness to the miraculousness that is this life and living creation. When I look at industrial ruins and kind of the remnants of our society, I want to force viewers and the audience to look at the implications of what we do and what we decide might be a good way for us to live. Miami is a really unique city. It's a very young city. The arts in general are really taking root here, and it's also on the forefront of this climate crisis. So I think working within the sphere of climate is incredibly important in this area particularly. And I think as humans, our jobs is to steward the planet and to steward ourselves and living systems. And I think my art is just a small part of that.
In the Florida Keys, photographer Andreas Franke is using the forces of nature to transform his art and make a statement about the health of our oceans.
The super cool thing with artwork on the water is that at first it's just photography, but after this, the sea helps me to make these images unique. And I have no influence during these 3 months. My name is Andreas Franke. I'm a photographer and I love diving. I'm very concerned about plastic in the ocean. For my Plastic Ocean images, I collected real plastic trash from the ocean, from the Mediterranean Sea, very close to Venice, Italy. So 4 of us went down there, collected only 1 hour on the beach, and we had more than enough plastic to do all these 24 images. Then I had a pool, like a tank. I placed girls as well as kids in this plastic and made like a still life, like an old classic still life, and surrounded in the water, in the tank, the plastic pieces we collected around the talents. So the reason why I came to Key West and hang the artwork in Key West on the Vandenberg is, of course, it's an outstanding shipwreck and also a wonderful dive destination. And for me, I really see it as a gallery.
All right, let's bring you down. We're almost done.
We brought them down, all the 24 images, and hang them with magnets on the side of the shipwreck. So during these 3 months, while this exhibition was underwater on the Vandenberg, more than 10,000 divers had the possibility to see this project. After 3 months, I came back and we brought this artwork up. We brought them on land, we clear coat them, that all the sea life gets stable and will not crumble. Now, after these images are clear coated, we will show it again, and we will show it in a gallery. During these 3 months, these images changed, because the good thing of the sea life, become a part of my artwork and converted them. So I do 50%, the other 50% is doing the sea. After these 3 months, when I bring them up, there is a lot of growth of microorganisms, and it changed these images and make them unique. Also, if I would do it a second time, it never ever would look similar. And that is fantastic. And here you can see how the artwork looks before, and here you can see the difference. So what you see here, and why I love this so much, to hang the artwork on the water, it's like the water drips in these images and change the colors and creates frames, like in the old times when we had Polaroids.
Find full episodes, segments, and more at artloftsfl.org and on YouTube at South Florida PBS.
Art Loft is brought to you by
Where there is freedom, there is expression. The Florida Keys and Key West.
the Miami-Dade County Tourist Development Council, the Miami-Dade County Department of Cultural Affairs, and the Cultural Affairs Council, the Miami-Dade County Mayor, and the Board of County Commissioners, and the Friends of South Florida PBS.